Am I going to LPT Realty? Stick around and find out.
You better get fired up!
So LPT Realty, for those of you who haven't heard of it, is a smaller real estate company. It's a brand new company, and it was started by Robert Palmer, who is a billionaire from some other successes that he's had. He's taking some of that money, pouring it into this new company, and he's gotten a little success from it, right? He's gotten a few thousand agents, which is phenomenal. So I was approached, and the gentleman who had approached me was going over all the different things that LPT offers. It was very intriguing, very interesting. And, I kind of sat on it. I said, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. And as time passed, last week, I had somebody reach out to me and say, Joe, I heard you're going to LPT Realty. And I said, really? Where did you hear that from? And they gave me the person's name, and I said, interesting. Well, I haven't made a decision to go to LPT Realty yet, but I'll let you know if I do. And so then I got a call the next day from somebody else. And they said, Joe, I heard you're going to LPT Realty. And I said, really? From who? And they gave me the same name. Well, I'd never met this person before. So I called this person, and I said, hey, how you doing? I'm Joe Rosen. I heard I'm going to LPT Realty, and I heard you're the one who's telling everybody. Can you tell me, where are you getting that from? And he said, I don't know. I've never heard of that before. I didn't know you were going to LPT Realty either. He said, honestly, a lot of the training, the culture, the Zoom calls, everything you and Alex Haig are doing, we're kind of copying that and trying to build our business off of it here locally, right? So I appreciate you guys. And I said, man, that is incredibly kind of you to say. Thank you. So it was really nice to hear that they wanted me to come over. And it was really nice to hear that a lot of things that they're building, that they're finding success in, are things that Alex and I have built up and found success in ourselves, right? But unfortunately, I'm not going to LPT Realty, right? But I want to share with you guys, because you guys, if you're listening, are probably realtors too. Maybe you've heard of the company and you're thinking, should I go to LPT Realty? And there's some reasons you would want to go and some reasons you wouldn't want to go. But what I'm going to do, I'm pulling up a text here that I had sent to the guy who had pitched me LPT Realty. And he said, hey, tell me what you think. And this was the text. It's a pretty long text. It's got 8 points. And I'm going to share these 8 points with you guys, not necessarily to push you to go in the direction that I'm going, but I want you to see things that maybe other people wouldn't see in helping you make the decision as to whether or not LPT is the best for you, right? So here are the 8 things that I sent off. Number 1, I wrote, and I'm reading this verbatim, right? A 2,000 to 3,000 agent company, that's where they were at 2-3 months ago, is handing out the same amount of shares as a 90,000 agent company, which is about where EXP was at that time. Even if LPT grows to 45,000 agents, which is 15 times the growth at that point, right? It'd be a pretty monstrous growth. Those shares are only worth roughly half as much. Could the business grow bigger? Absolutely, but I'm betting it has less than a 50% chance of doing so. So let me break it down like this. For those of you who aren't into stocks, right? Joe owns a company. It's worth $1 million. With the assets and the income I'm bringing in, everything else, it's worth $1 million. I go public, so I sell 1 million shares. Well, if my company's worth $1 million, I got 1 million shares, you can do the math pretty easily. Each share's worth about $1, right? Now, if my neighbor starts a very similar company, and my neighbor's company with assets and income and everything else is worth about $100,000, but he also sells 1 million shares, his shares are worth about 10 cents each, not $1 each. They're worth 1/10 as much. Well, that's what we're seeing with LPT versus EXP, is we're seeing the same amount of shares go out, but we've got a monstrous workforce, and we're the fastest growing real estate company in history, right? LPT, they're doing a phenomenal job. They were seeing some growth. I don't know if they're still seeing the growth, but they were seeing some pretty sizable growth. But you'd have to continue to see that growth for several years, like we have at EXP, right? Is that sustainable? I hope they do a phenomenal job, but I'm certainly not going to bet on it. And to be able to get stocks that are valued at a much, much, much less rate for me just wasn't overly attractive, right? So let's go to number 2. I'm going to lose 5 figures worth of EXP stock. Now, I looked this morning, and I've got between $70,000 and $80,000 in EXP stock. That's the amount of stock that I've gotten since I started at EXP. And I've only been at EXP for about 2.5 years. It's not vested. How would I give up $70,000, $80,000 in stock to go to another company that is offering me stock that's significantly less valuable, right? That's going to be challenging. So for me, that was a pretty hard pass. That made it pretty easy. But of course, I got 6 more points, right? So number 3. Okay, so this one I got to explain a little bit. One of LPT's big attraction pieces, I should say 2 of their big attraction pieces that I'm seeing, both in what I'm being pitched and what I've heard other agents being pitched, is for the newer agents. And I would even push to say the agents who are more fearful, right? Especially with the market changing a little bit now. What they offer is now they call it 100% commission, but it's not, right? You've got a $500 transaction fee. There's an extra $500 fee on the first deal. And then that $500 caps at $5,000. So that's pretty attractive to agents who in their mind are thinking, I don't know if I'm going to do enough sales to legitimize the fact that I need a cap. And listen, I got it. But now who are you attracting as a company? You're attracting a lot of agents who don't know if they're going to do 5-6 deals in a year, right? Because if you look, the other day NAR put out a statistic where more than half of licensed real estate agents have done 0 deals ever. That's the type of agent that, in my opinion, is going to be attracted to a model that's keeping fees as low as possible. At EXP, if you hit icon status, without going into too much detail, it's about 26, 27, 28 homes, depending upon the market and the price point you're selling at. You get all of the money you've paid into EXP back with the exception of about $7,000, $8,000. So that means if I've done, let's just say 30 deals, I'll have paid $7,000-8,000 in all year, okay? So really, you'll have saved maybe $2,000 at LPT, but you give up your revenue share options in doing so, right? So again, I don't want to bore you with all the details, but as a guy who brings on a lot of agents, I don't want to lose that. And I also don't know that I want to attract agents who don't think they can be bigger and better, right? I want to attract agents who want more, who are hungry, who are willing to go out there and get it. So for me, I thought, I don't know that I want to be with a company that's attracting that. The other type of person that I see it attracting, and this is from, like, if you've ever been recruited by LPT, they're big into, hey, let's throw a yacht party, come and see my fancy jet, let's go on this jet ride. So what they're doing is they're attracting the higher level agents who, through talking with these higher level agents, these are the guys who are talking to me and trying to recruit me over, they don't want to sell anymore. That's what they've communicated to me. They want to get out of sales and they want to travel around the nation and speak, right? They want to recruit. So now what I'm seeing is you've got a lot of lower level agents who don't do 5 deals a year, and you've got a lot of your meatier agents, the ones doing the deals, but they don't want to do deals anymore. They want to go travel around the nation and they want to speak. And I thought, where's the meat? Where's the 20, 30, 40, 50 deals a year agents? Where are those guys, right? Those are the leaders, and you need them. You need them in the trenches. You need them there for the newer agents to be able to feed off of and become the agents doing 20 to 50 deals a year in the future, right? That is what you need to build a company. So I thought, I don't see where the leadership is going to come into play. If you guys are all off speaking and these guys are all down here, just doing this many deals, and that's why they're attracted to that low commission amount, I don't know how well that's going to work. And I wasn't thinking about that from a split perspective. That's how a lot of agents are going to look at it. I'm looking at it from an owner of a company. I'm getting shares in this company. Well, if I'm getting shares, even if you grow to 90,000 agents and you match EXP, the agents that you have are probably going to be producing less per agent because a lot of your higher end agents don't want to sell anymore, and a lot of your lower end agents, well, they're lower end agents, right? And they don't have leadership necessarily to be able to get to that higher point. So that was another big point that really factored into it, was just the value of those shares over time based on the people that model attracts. So here's the fourth one. The rev share is pitched brilliantly. If you look at the numbers, the way they're pitched, it looks like you're making a ton of money. But if you start actually reading the fine print and how the calculations are made, you make more on revenue share, and it's not even close. You make more at EXP than you do there, right? So they'll jack up the numbers on the sheet, but then when you actually look at it, it's like, well, you make half of this, and you don't really see the half of. You just see the this, which is the big number at the end, right? Well, when you see the half of, and you start crunching the math, it actually ends up being less per agent that you make on revenue share throughout the year. So if I do all the hard work of recruiting, building this big business up, I'm going to make less per agent than I would if I bring them onto EXP. right? That's a challenge. That's a monetary challenge. I'm a business person, want to make a smart business decision. For me, again, that was just kind of a no-go, right? The training is all in videos. I specifically asked, because this is a big deal, right? I'm going to bring on guys. I've got training. We got phenomenal training. EXP has phenomenal training. Alex Haig and I share all our training. So all my guys can go to his training. All his guys can go to my training. When we were looking at LPT, I said, talk to me a little bit about the training. Oh, we got the best training in the world. It's so great, blah, blah, blah. I said, wonderful. Let me see some of them. Like, let me go to one. Well, they're all pre-recorded videos. Okay. So there's no interaction. There's no like asking questions. And well, if you have a question, you can email us and we'll get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. All right. That's a problem, right? People want hands-on, especially newer agents who are trying to grow. They want to know that when they got a question, they're in front of a person who's got a certain level of experience and they can hear the answer back. When I heard that everything was pre-recorded videos, I found that a little bit challenging, right? So for me, trying to attract agents to something, I want to attract you to something that I think is somewhere I would go if I was a newer agent. And getting pre-recorded videos only for training, that was a big problem for me. So that was another issue. That's number 5. Number 6, the revenue share has changed. What they were offering is not what they're offering anymore. And they're telling us blatantly it's going to change in the future. To what? You have no idea. Right? Because it's not a public company right now. They can't force them. Nobody's there to force them as a forcing function to commit to something. It's one guy running it, and whatever he feels like on a Tuesday, that's where it's going to be, right? I had a challenge with that. Stocks have changed. How many stocks you get at what levels of sales, all those different things. It's changed, and it's likely going to change again. That is inconsistent for me. I can't do that. I want to know that there is a clear path moving forward. If you do this, Joe, you get this. If your agents do this, they get this. Everybody wants to know that, right? Just tell me the rules of the game. I can play it. For me, it was a little too wish-washy, and I said, I think I'm good, right? But let's keep going. So they got something called, and this is where LPT comes from, right? They got the Listing Power Tools package. What it is it's a really cool box. You can probably build it for maybe $50 to $100, right? And they give agents these boxes when they get listings. And then the agent can take it to the listing and say, hey, look at this cool marketing box I got. Isn't it really cool? And it is cool. It is cool. That box is being given to some agents who have already come on, but it's going to be taken away at some point. At least that's what the recruiter who I talked to said. And future agents that I'm trying to build the business with, that I'm trying to build my business with, will not be offered that. That's a tough pitch for me. Again, it's multiple layers of inconsistency. For me, it just wasn't going to work, right? So this is what I wrote. It seems like this company was built to be a disruptor, but my challenge is how many are going to stick around when everything continues to change every couple months? When I pitch something to my guys, I mean, for those of you who know me, right, I was in the military. It's a big deal that what I say is what you're going to get. If it changes, I'm going to feel absolutely horrible. I'm going to lack integrity. I want to know that what I say is what goes. When my pitch to you as a representative of a company is, this is what I'm getting, what you're getting, not sure. We'll see in, maybe 30 days, maybe a year. I don't know. They're going to change the rules. Maybe they won't. That's challenging, right? That's a challenging pitch, and that's not something I would push any agent to get into. I'd push you to get into something that has been proven time and time again and that you've seen over several years stand up, right? That's what attracts me to EXP. I think LPT has maybe built something where they saw little issues in different businesses and they tried to solve them short term, but long term, especially with the market changing, all of these changes, and they're all going in the wrong direction. The amount of stocks you get is going down. The LPT box that you're getting is going away. The amount of revenue share that you're getting is reducing, right? All of these things are going in the direction that you don't want to see them going in. So for me as a business owner, a business builder, that was a little scary for me, right? All right, number 7. LPT is not going public for 3 years. That's what I was told. And then I have no idea if there's a vest period because they don't really talk about how the stocks are set up or what the rules around the stocks are. Again, everything I'm telling you is based off this one recruiter, but this guy's one of the higher up people here locally. So it's tough to swallow the fact that any stock I get is worth literally nothing. It's not even a stock. It's a promise for a stock when they maybe, hopefully, go public in 3 years. I got to trust that they're going to go public in 3 years. But then I got to look at the revenue share and the stock and everything else, and all of that is slowly dwindling. It's tough to buy into a business where everything is reducing, right? All of the perks are slowly dwindling, but I got to believe that in 3 years you're going to go public, and magically the company's going to be huge and these stocks are going to be worth as much. That's challenging. And I got to give up all the stock I've already got at EXP to do it. That's just too tough to buy into, right? So for that reason, it was pretty easy to say no. Here's the last thing. I've got a bunch of agents here at EXP Realty, and they've bought into not so much EXP. I mean, if you ask any of them, why are you at EXP with Joe Rosen? I think the majority of them would say it's because of Joe Rosen. It's because of Alex Haig. It's because of the training they offer. It's because of the hands-on attention that I'm going to get with these guys whenever I've got questions, which, man, that's what we want to give, right? I'm a huge fan of building future leaders, future success, and that comes from my Army background. I was a platoon sergeant for probably half of my time in the Army, and my job was to take the people under me and build them into me, right? So that I could leave and you could take over as leaders and build up future soldiers. My mind hasn't changed. It thinks exactly the same way in real estate. I want you to be successful. It probably takes away from some of my personal sales to invest time in my guys and help them grow. But if I'm able to help guys and see them grow, it means the world to me. So to be able to ask them to all move someplace that I genuinely feel all of the perks right now are as good as it's going to get, and they're probably going to reduce because they've reduced in the past, and the guy I spoke with said they're probably going to reduce. That's challenging to tell realtors to do. I want my guys to be in the most successful position possible with the best training, the best incentives, the best financial incentives, and I feel like EXP is still clearly that option for these guys. So for all those reasons, for me, I'm sticking at EXP, right? So a lot of great companies out there. I hope that LPT does a phenomenal job and continues to build. I saw they had a really good initial push. Be nice to see if they can still maintain that. Got a lot of great friends over there. I do appreciate the compliments from the gentleman I spoke to. It means the world to me. But at this time, I'm staying at EXP, guys. Have an awesome day.